All right, welcome back to one of our board drill breakdowns. As always, I'm Kyle. I'm here with my co-host Matt. Matt, we just released an article earlier this week on the red zone kind of plays and really kind of nice plays by Kansas State in the red zone. I guess is the best way to say it. I don't even know what we titled it now that I'm thinking about it. But right, we released this article on all the different ways that Kansas State took advantage of teams in the red zone, and we thought we'd get together tonight and talk about a few of them. Right, Matt?
Yeah, Kansas State, you're talking about a team that does a phenomenal job using tight ends, H-backs, and running backs
For real.
in the red zone to kind of beat man coverage and really confuse defenses. So, yeah, it's a great team to look at.
Yeah, so just the different ways they do it. Plus, like we talked about, they have the Q run game that's mixed in there, so it gets pretty ridiculous. So, Matt, the first one we're going to look at, I'm going to give kind of general names for them if we want to rename them, or if you're listening, you want to call it something else. We're not the authority on what to call plays. We just talk about them. So the first one, here we go. Right, typical standard. Well, not quite standard, right? It's over, right? So we're already covering guys up. So they have trips to the field, the slot is covered, and then the tight end is here in the wing position. Okay, so first off, already kind of trickery, right? Tulane's got 3 for 3 over there, but they're covering one guy that's ineligible. They're really super spaced, right? The splits are very far, and really most of the play is going to happen right here in this core of this 11 personnel core. So what we get here is I'm going to do slow-mo it first. So we're going to get GT, what looks like QGT. We're also going to get the tight end releasing vertical that's going to draw some players. And then the running back's going to run that rail route out of the backfield, the wheel route. Right? This is super dangerous. I'm going to talk about real quick defensively before Matt breaks it down. Right? This corner is kind of screwed. He is the edge run fitter, and he's responsible for that running back.
Kind of screwed.
Yeah, he just doesn't, right? So the only guy that can make a play here is the one high safety who it's just too little too late. But let's talk about a little bit about how the GT sets up here, Matt.
Yeah, so I mean, Kansas State just runs a standard what looks to be GT. I don't know if there's actually the option for the quarterback to run here or not. It looks like there is the way to, like it could be, but you can tell 77, the right tackle, he's pulling up on the play, so he's trying not to get too far downfield. So at least the offensive line's aware of the potential of the throw. Great play design here, sending the running back to the same side. And obviously, right away, it looks like he's going to block the corner. So I'm sure that if we go back and look, there was some version where the running back goes and tries to take on the corner out of this.
Yeah, they have a lot of versions. So they run a version of like a GF or R, whatever you want to call the tailback, like a GF counter where the tailback and the guard go for the quarterback. So they run variations of this, and they run super counter, which is where you get the GT plus the running back. So they do all of this stuff, which I think is what put Tulane in a bind here. But I mean, look, they're guy for guy in the run too, by the way, if they actually block this correctly, right? Boom, boom. If they kick and wrap here, they're pretty good. And now obviously if the cornerback goes with the running back, if the corner goes with the running back, quarterback could just take off here.
Yeah, the offensive tackle gets squeezed down pretty heavy there.
Yeah.
And the guard kind of over pulls it, but
it's enough, right? Because the point of the play is, I do think it's a design pass, and right, they get their numbers, they get it out there, and they do a good job. So
yeah, I also want to point out, I mean, if you go back to the beginning, Kyle, and you look at if you go back to the wide view, and look at the top of the screen and how wide they are.
Yeah,
the receivers are. And showing the screen from number 2, I thought was very innovative to be able to show that screen for number 2 and force them to react to it. And what that does is it makes that free safety hang and wait on that tight end to release, right?
Yeah.
He's looking at quads to the wide side of the field, and you got the tight end releasing straight up the seam. I mean, quarterback had his option here. He's got a wide open running back. He's got a wide open tight end. And they still have numbers in the run game. So just a great play design here by Kansas State.
No, I think it's exactly what you're talking about, right? If the corner takes the running back, the safety's got to be responsible for that tight end, or the linebacker does. I mean, right? It's pick your poison here. It's just a really good design by by Kansas State. And I think this is what they do often. They take something simple and make it more complex. So the next one we're going to look at, Matt, I just labeled this real quick as belly pass. It's not belly pass, but what it is play action.
You're gonna have wing T coaches up in a tizzy right now.
Now, I think it's because we had the guy on the other night that talked about belly, and they talked about belly pass. But my point is, whatever, it's fast to the flat, which is really what I care about here. And this is a great example of doing interesting things when you know someone's in goal line coverage, right? There's 6 guys on the line of scrimmage here, 7 actually, and they're coming. And then there's 4 guys that are in, really 5, but right, there's 4 guys that are mainly in coverage. He's manned up on the tight end. He's manned up on the wing. He has this guy. I don't know how they're sharing the running back here. I have no idea. Maybe they're selling out, and he's there. So as we watch this play happen, the guy who has the tight end down blocks. So that guy works forward, and then him and the corner both jump the wing here. You're going to love this, Matt. And then guess who else takes the wing? The guy who was responsible on the F that went to the flat, who was working across, he takes the wing as well. So we triple cover the wing here, and it's a nice fullback to the flat, right?
I mean, that guy on the backside does not stand a chance.
No, he's no shot.
There's no way. I mean, unless as a defense, you see your guy crossing, you hang and sit. There's no way to cover that.
Right. That's why different coverages were created, like one funnel where you technically all share them across and you have to switch and all that. So, but again, this is not right. This is reminiscent, Matt, of the old I formation, right? Faking the ISO fullback in the flat, right? This is as old as time gets. It's a slight variation, right? They kind of more zone style block it and then slide him out, but it's the same thing. And it's a 3-yard throw and boom, and a touchdown. And I think the reason why we like some of this Kansas State stuff, right? And this is not a knock on anyone. Avery Johnson, Kansas State quarterback, super athletic guy, throws decent, right? He's a good ball player. He's a good college player, but he's not a guy that's going to drop back and carve you up 60 times a game. And I think that's reminiscent of a lot of high school kids, right? A lot of small high schools across the country have really athletic quarterbacks that can throw just well enough. So Kansas State, these are some really great ideas for them to incorporate in the red zone to get easy throws for their quarterback, right? And so I really like this pass right here. It's simple, right? There's nothing to it. So the next one,
another thing you look at from Kansas State there is their personnel. You know, they're utilizing 3 tight ends.
Yeah.
You know, again, of what we said, you know, being able to use these big personnel sets. And I think it would be great to see more high school coaches throw defensive linemen that are athletic out there at a tight end position and be able to use these big sets down in the red zone.
Yeah, right. Nothing gets like a D end excited like getting to play tight end and maybe throw the ball to him, right? Like that kid.
Absolutely.
You know, that kid who normally doesn't even care about playing offense is like, you know, hey, we're going to throw the ball to you later. So the 3 times you don't throw to him, he's down blocking a guy to the goalpost, right? Because he's ready to get the ball later. So next one, we're going to talk about a little Q pop on the goal line. I really love this one. It's an empty set. Well, I don't know why I keep calling it empty. Sorry. It's not an empty set because the fullback's like snuck in there in a 3-point stance. But again, another tight end. It's 12 personnel. That's a tight end in the background, but you can kind of see a stance here. All right. So Q power is the setup here. Let's get to the back shot. So again, Q power, which is right up your alley, Matt. There it is. And then the tight end just does such a great job of being patient and sliding out at the last second. I'll show it to you from the side here. I mean, watch how patient he is on the down block and then just slides out at the very end.
I love the right tackle blocking the linebacker that's trying to cover the tight end. That's a sneaky thing to get away with there.
Yeah. It's a really good job by them. I mean, even the guard, watch how patient the guard is here, knowing he can't get downfield.
Staying square to the line also.
Yeah, just great.
Excellent job.
Right, because normally he would climb to that interior guy right there, right? And they'd be doing some kind of read off of it because they run a lot of Q power bash, but really smart here, and just the patience of the quarterback too. And it's perfect throw. So again, that's an easy one. We've seen it before, right? Everybody talks about, like Tebow and jump passes and all that stuff, but this is still very much alive, just making a normal pass without jumping. So, all right, Matt, the next one we wanted to go to. Okay, so similar play this time. All right, we saw it earlier. It was kind of that goal line, right? Fullback to the flat. This time we're going to see him. Exact same style thing, except he's just going to hit the tight end this time.
Same play.
So, same play.
Same idea.
It's flipped,
same idea,
right?
except Yeah, they bring number 10 from the receiver spot. He comes all the way across. And, I mean, throwing into traffic. I mean, you'll see this quarterback do it sometimes. He's not scared to rip it and let it go.
But, right, same play now because West Virginia works so heavily to the flat. Watch, they have two guys that work down to the flat here. That leaves that alleyway for this throw. And again, right, it is a tight throw, but it's a really, really nice job of just showing you, simple layers in the end zone, just like any other play, gives you those alleys for that kid to throw. All right, leak. This is always one of my favorite ones, Matt. Leak is fantastic. It just breaks a bunch of rules on defense. So we're going to get the running back leak here where he's going to leak through the end zone and there. But the guy to keep an eye on is the tight end who's going to delay and work across here.
7-on-7 play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a play that you see everybody get. It's like leak is one thing I tell OCs in big games, you get it once a game. It's going to work one time a game. And here's a great example of it here. People run it with the tight end leaking or the running back. This is a running back one, but watch how that tight end delays. And look, they do a great job of picking up the running back here. But the guy who's responsible for the tight end here, little late. Nice.
Tries to hold him down.
Yeah, but again, because it's just so many layers of, right, you're rolling one direction, you're throwing back the other direction, plus a delayed guy, it just breaks coverage rules.
I'll say this, a great job by number 1 on defense, picking up that running back leak and being able to run with him down the field. But that, like you said, that clears it between the tight end or the wing running the vertical off the left side, and then the running back running that leak out there. That clears it for that tight end delay.
Yeah, it's standard cover 1, it looks like. And everybody does right, but again, the one guy slips out.
And I don't know how many times I've seen a leak and a delay on the same play. I mean, that's tough to deal with.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the new wrinkle, right? It used to be the tight end one, so I can kind of draw it where, like, however your setup is, the tight end would come across and then leak up, right, and take a while, and you'd roll out. That used to be the thing. Yeah, now people added the running back, and then they saw just that. All right, well, we'll add the running back, and if it takes your guy, then we'll delay the tight end across, and we're good to go there. So, right, there's just offenses do a great job building in layers, and now it's a nice, easy read, right? He's going to do this. He's going to read to the leak, back to the tight end, and he does a good job of getting mobile here, and boom, there's a shot, and now the tight end does a great job finishing the play. Again, all of these, the theme here is red zone plays from about the 30 in, 25 in, whatever you want to call your red zone. Some people call it the high red zone, everything. But, right, these are easy throws that are scoring. Right, this is not a tough throw. Yes, Avery Johnson makes a good play here by stepping up, but right, this is a throw any high school kid can make, Matt. Right,
yeah,
I mean, you've coached 100 kids that can make that throw.
Yeah, especially the I don't know if I've coached 100 kids.
You get what I'm saying.
Throw the ball, but yeah, that's an easy throw. And you're dealing with, when you're watching the Kansas State film, like you said before, you're dealing with a quarterback that can run the ball, which a lot of high school coaches have. Yeah, and it's really great film to put on and find some examples of what to do in the red zone. Yeah,
I mean, also, if you're a coach listening, go check out the Q Run cut up we put on boardrill.com. It's phenomenal. They do a great job. There's more pop passes. I think there's one more I wanted to get on here. This is it. This is a fun one, Matt. I just want to talk about this real quick. This will be the last one we talk about. But all right, so earlier they run a play action. Do they shift here?
No, this is the one where they leak them both the same side.
So it was similar, but right, instead of here, these guys were both on the line of scrimmage. So right, this guy was here and that guy was here. And they ran the running back across, and right, this guy ran the wheel and this guy ran the shoot. Now they're going to flip responsibilities with these guys. So the first guy's going to run the shoot, and this guy is going to bend it just around the tackle and get vertical. And again, this is just a really nice play for them. And again, they struggled against Arizona State, but you can see a really nice, easy throw there. And I'm going to talk through the coverage piece here because this is important. You can kind of see the safety frustrated with this. The safety knows the play that's coming, right? He says 83 is wheeling, the first guy. Watch his exit angle. He's going to go this way. Like, all right, this guy's wheeling. Oh, crap. this guy's going flat now. This guy's getting vertical. So watch him have to now stop his feet and come back and make a play. And he does a good job of making a play and getting in there, but right, it's too late to stop a pass that's being completed. So just a really good variation here. And Matt, I don't know how offensive guys come up with this. Like, who's like, all right, we're just going to bend the guy around the tackle now.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, and Kansas State does do a lot of zone slice style stuff. It looks really like this. So, I mean, if you watch 87, look at him attack the defensive end like he makes it look to the linebackers like he's slicing there, like he's going to kick backside and he's going to block. Great view here. Watch how he really gets up in there, and then he just bends it around. I mean, just great job.
They do such a good job of being a great disciplined team. Obviously, and again, this isn't a knock on them, but typically they're less talented than the teams they're playing on most Saturdays. Maybe not most, on half. We'll call it half. But such great discipline, and we know, right, we're a big fan of the school where their head coach comes from, right? He's a North Dakota State guy, Matt. And this is still remnant of North Dakota State style football, right? They do a really good job running outside zone in some gap schemes, and then they're going to come back with a creative play action game off of that with some Q run stuff, right? It feels like FBS North Dakota State there in Manhattan, Kansas, very much. So,
yeah, very creative by the offensive staff there, and yeah, you can definitely tell the remnants left over from North Dakota State there.
Yeah, you really can. I love it. So again, me and Matt just want to do a quick video, obviously, for some of our subscribers and everyone listening. But if you haven't checked out the article yet, go check it out. It's on boardroll.com. We've written a few here on Kansas State. We wrote one on their red zone. We talked about it today. They run an outside zone with a midline read built into it. That's really cool. That article is going to release on Thursday. So just a lot of different things that Kansas State's doing that I think for our audience, if you're a high school coach out there, I think Kansas State is a really good offense to study. Right. I get where, everyone wants to look at the Texases and, Ole Miss and Tennessee and all these other teams that do these things. But Kansas State reminds me of just really good high school football. And again, that's not me knocking on Kansas State. I mean, they're very good plays that I think high school teams could put in tomorrow and run very well and major in. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong there.
And very creative. I mean, you said Tennessee, and I know you meant it in the spread format, but I'm going to tell you now, Kyle, I've started to get into this Tennessee film, and their I formation and power I down the red zone. And I think we got some cool stuff to show high school coaches that'll translate to their game as well. But that's another team that you're looking down in this red zone area, and they're going multiple tight end guys out on the field and utilizing that personnel set to gain an advantage in the run game and in the play action pass game.
And that's a big piece, right? The red zone is important, obviously, when everyone wants to score touchdowns from 50, 60 yards out, but you better have a plan for the red zone because that field does get compressed. The defense does do some different things, and you got to find a way to punch it in for touchdowns, right? You win games by scoring touchdowns. You don't win it by kicking field goals. And I don't care if you're out there and you disagree with me, you're wrong. So, but anyways,
manufacture first downs, score touchdowns. That's it.
That's the way it is, right? If you're trading touchdowns for field goals, you're feeling pretty good about the night. Perfect, Matt. So great job there, going through Kansas State red zone. If you're listening, me and Matt, Matt's coming off a little bit of an illness, so we're going to try to pick this up and do a few more episodes like this every week. So for me and Matt signing off, we'll see you next week.